Well, howdy doody! And what are we doing now on Ice Age TV? We're riding around now in the Bison today. We've gone from the Whipple Horse Dark Horse car to the Colorado Bison. All the different names of the Dark Horse, the Bison, the animals that are around us. And the technology will drive you nuts. Cracks me up. Here's whoever put this in this car is a numbskull. Look at this cable. It's like a mile long. There's a mile long cable in my car, and it just doesn't end, everybody. It doesn't end. It's never ending. The Iceman trying to make things work. So now the question is, does this connect my iPhone? Or does it? So on the road again. I'm back doing things that my daughter used to do. It enabled me to kind of do other things besides live in a car every day of my life, which that's what I do. I mean, you may not believe me, but if you really watch my channel, you'll see that I jump in a car but every day of my life to go take care of things, and that's just part of my business. Self into, and I'm still doing it. It's a beautiful day in some ways. The rains have subsided, and the grass, all the greenery. I mean, the property just looks so pretty, so nice. And I gotta get out of here. Now the question is, did I bring the right device to get out of here? I think I did. On the road again. On the road again. Brian really likes that Blazer. So it's interesting how I bought that Chevy Blazer specifically for Julia to work out of and go back and forth to school. And I never would have thought that in the end it would have been Brian's. Brian's like, get rid of the Lightning truck. I mean, if I was wise, I would get rid of it because it's huge. That payment is huge. What do you think? I mean, I would love to hear people reach out and say, well, that Chevy heavy-duty Bison truck, how much is that a month? The Ford Mustang Dark Horse, how much is that a month? The Ford electric truck that you own, that white one, how much is that a month? And your jaw's gonna drop. You're like, I'm just talking the monthly payment, not even talking about the obligation for the taxes, and that's Virginia registered. So between the insurance, the truck payment, and personal property tax, that thing probably, I'm going to say, insurance is probably about $1,000 a year, $100 a month. Personal property tax will probably be about, I would say, $4,000 a year. So that's going to be, what's that? $300, $400. Yeah, so I would say $2,500 a month. So that one white Lightning truck, that's a $2,500 a month obligation. Just one vehicle. Now, of course, I use it for my business primarily, but that's huge. That Blazer basically is like, between insurance, personal property tax, that's about $1,000 a month. So in so many ways, I'd be wise just to dump that Lightning truck. And at some point, as I told you on my channel, I'm going to have no choice to probably dump more stuff. But I've been more focused on, I'm going to have to dump the bikes. So this really the next exodus on my channel that you're going to see is going to be the motorcycles. It won't be the cars per se, it'll be the motorcycles. So I think you're going to just see that whole garage, for the most part, empty out. So that's the next phase. And when I pull the trigger on that, it takes time and energy to do all this stuff. I mean, just to get rid of the crap, it takes a lot of time. Just like that Harley Davidson CVO. Another guy reached out yesterday, I'll give you $20K for it. Well, that means I have to pay $5,000 for you to buy it. Yeah, so it's kind of like, I just can't get excited. You come to my house and I write a $5,000 check to enable me to enable me to get rid of that motorcycle. And then you're going to be laughing all the way to the bank. I got this guy's $50,000 CVO for 20 grand, which it is. That bike brand new. If the guy didn't get any discount on that 2021 CVO, if he didn't get a discount, I'm just saying no discounting on it. That bike was, I think, $41,999 or $42,999. And then you're going to have sales tax, the state of Florida, which is 6%. And so that's another, let's just say, $3 grand. Then they're going to charge them setup and freight. That's another $1,000. There's $4 grand. And then the back end, probably $500 or $1,000 fee as well. We got a phone call. Blah, 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 blah. You know, see, now it's just challenging. Now I'm on the phone with customers. Now I'm on the phone with Brian. So there's so much going on to keep the conversation of what I had, the theme, the talking, the conversation. It's now, what was I saying? I don't even know. I think I know what it's saying, but do I know what it's saying? Yeah, well, the morning conversation was don't give up. Yeah, right. When do you just give up? When do you just raise your hands and say, is it worth it anymore? I mean, who doesn't have that feeling, right? As I roll down the back of Maryland, so I've been in Virginia, now I'm in Maryland and running around taking care of things, because tomorrow's Friday, and tomorrow will be a hellacious day on 95. We're going to be on 95. So here's a young lady running down the road, and her older lady, who the hell knows, and hopefully not getting run over. I used to live these back roads so much. I have done this so many times. It's beyond believable. You guys have no idea how many times I've run up and down these roads. And it's because I've been doing this. I've been doing this now for 30 years. Being self-employed and in the industry I'm in, I'm coming up on over 30 years. 1993 is when I got in the public telephone business. So, but prior to that, I was in the oil industry, driving around tanker trucks and then making sales calls. But as far as getting in the maintenance of taking care of equipment and driving around every day of my life, yeah, I am now at 32. Yeah, it's 32 years. And been living on the road behind the wheel of a car started in 1985. So I've been driving these. I mean, it's hard to believe. I've been driving these roads that, as you know, most people aren't even the age of 40 years old. This is what I've been doing. How much longer can I do it? And that's the thing. It's just a total. Eventually, like, man, I've just done this so long. I just don't want to do it no more. I mean, that's what starts to play out as you get older in life. Is I have so many friends and associates that have been in my industry, and they're gone. They sold out. A lot of them sold out in their 50s, early 60s, and they sold out to big conglomerates. I could do the same thing. I could make a phone call today, and I already know a company who wants to buy my business. I could do that if I really wanted to do that. But I'm not there. I mean, I'm not there yet. Am I close? I don't know. It's going to come down to what starts to play out more in my relationship with my wife and other things, the variables that are going on. But the challenge for me is, I got to have something to do. And I really do not want to be, if I was ever to sell out and then I wanted to do something else, which I would, I'd need to do something else. I mean, financially, whether it's finances or not, I want to continue to stay busy and active in my life. But the last thing I want to do is, I know some people are like, why don't you work at a car dealership? Hell no. No way, man. That's a death sentence. You have to live at the damn place. Go work at a motorcycle dealership. Nope. I don't want to go live in a brick and mortar building to make a living. No way. No way, man. I'd rather hit it on social media or an internet gig, something. I don't know. All I know is to go drive to a brick and mortar building and then sit there all day long waiting for somebody to walk in the door to show them a product. I did that. I owned a lawn and garden equipment business. And after I created that business, I so realized what a mistake I made. I'm not lying to you. In 2005, I worked diligently for 2 years to create a lawn and garden equipment dealership. By April of 2007, I opened it up. And by the following year, 2008, as the country was all shutting down, and I was witnessing in front of my eyes, where did all the money go? But the whole point is, I realized very quickly after I got into business, I mean, just sitting at the dealership and having to babysit people all day long and having to wait for people to walk in the door to sell them a manufacturer's product that brainwashed the whole industry, that you go out and spend $1 gazillion to set up a brick and mortar building and then beg your ass off to get some manufacturer's branded product to put in your freaking showroom or on your lot, and then be so lucky to be a distributor for them, and then be so lucky to sell it and beg and plead for them to take good care of you if you can be a distributor, blah, 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 as you're spending a bloody fortune on payroll, rent, taxes, blah, 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 customer headaches. The list goes on and on and on, just to sell a company's product they build in a manufacturing plant and then find some sucker to put it in their showroom to try to sell it. And if you can't sell it within 6 to 9 months, you got to outright buy it or start paying incredible high interest on a monthly basis to continue to have it sit in your showroom till you can give it away. So after going through all that crap, no way. So I realized very early into that business, that industry, it's like, what a joke. I want nothing to do with this. Nothing. So yeah, what do? I don't know, I mean, that's the challenge for me. I've been self-employed for the most part 30 plus years. I've been on my own for 30 plus years. How the hell would I go back to reporting to somebody else to tell me what I can and can't do today? So the reason I say that is that's why I haven't sold my company. Even though some days I'm like, what a joke. But that's the reason I'm still doing what I do, because I'm the boss. I make the decisions. Now, have I made good decisions here in the last few years? Hell no. Hell no. Now, am I taking it big time? Am I taking the punches like never ever seen in my lifetime? Yes. Yeah. Is it brutal? It is. How do I get myself out of this shithole, as they say? Hey, happy shit day. Well, wow, that's foul. No. So happy it's Thursday. It's happy shit day, because tomorrow will be, thank God it's Friday. Today is so happy it's Thursday. Oh, yeah. All right, here we are. Once again, man, I could, if I was doing this as much as I used to do this, I could probably be blindfolded. It could about tell you when to turn, the curve that's coming up, the bump that's coming up. Yeah, no lie. So with having only Brian now work for me, what the challenge becomes, we're so spread out from the Virginia, Maryland, D.C. area that what happens is we have problems that start to accumulate and come in and things happen, that what happens is it's very challenging for one person to manage the business by themselves, because you start driving all over the world. Like Joe that used to work for me, I would leave town, and I'm not lying to you, by about the third week I'd be gone. He'd be like, I'm going nuts. He's like, I'm going nuts, man. I'm going nuts. I'm sick of driving all over the world. He's like, I'm done. I just can't do this anymore. You got to come back. I'm like, all right, I'll come back. But he's like, man, this is driving 200 plus 300 mile days. It's back to back to back to back in this DC area, because he's used to when I'm in town, I'm doing other work that he's not doing to make it so his days aren't 200, 300 mile days. But when I leave town, he would just get so frazzled and burned out. And I know, because he would take a vacation, and I know. And I was in the same ballgame for a week. And then I'd be like, Jesus Christ, man, or 2 weeks. It's usually the week isn't the bad. It's once it gets 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, that's when it starts to wear you down. I gotta remember to text Brian that he's gotta add stop in for the days out. And I'm talking to you, and I'll forget that. That's the danger of getting on this video camera, is you start yabba dabba doing talking, and what happens with that is you get sidetracked. You drive by an exit, you drive by a road. I mean, that's that goes all the time. People are rambling on in their car, talking to somebody on the phone who hasn't done this. And it is a beautiful time of year because of all the greenery. Today it's 64. So like yesterday at this time, it was 59. Yeah, these roads suck. I mean, look at this. You see these roads, how bad they are? It's from a bad winter. We had up here, these winters really get to these roads, especially start briming them and start scraping them with the snow plows. It's all beautiful land, but you can't afford it. This is all $1 million properties back here. Between all the land, you're gonna buy 10 acres in Maryland. 10 acres is probably $300,000 to $500,000. Yep, so once a guy has 10 acres attached to his house, it's $1 million property. Here's Monocacy Elementary School. This is a really remote little school where you're in the rural country area. Which you are. If you lived here, you definitely have you have a solid 30-minute drive, if not longer, to go to a major shopping center. So this is really rural where I am. Where I live, I really do have a good location where I live because it's always catered to my business where I can get around and get a lot of places because I'm in the outer beltway of that Route 15 I live on. But also it's always giving me the convenience, only being 15, 20 minutes to town. And I can still go to town, and you can still do a lot of things of all the major shopping centers and entertainment, movie theaters, gyms, doctors. And that's the thing. I still have kind of a rural feel, but I'm still within hand's reach of having all the amenities nearby. Hospital, a lot of little things start to add up when you get to really rural areas. If you know what I mean. This here is Barnesville. It's the name of it, Barnesville, Maryland. I've seen so many antique shops close up. This will be interesting. I've seen, it seems, I wonder, I don't really know that industry, but this used to be an antique shop. I just think the whole antiquing thing had its day. I just think it isn't what it used to be, or maybe it's just the antique industry. It's like anything else, just its location. And what is the word of the day in this church? God makes a way when there is no way. You ever saw George Carlin? And that guy was funny. That guy, very smart guy. And I never really followed him, but on like Instagram or even Facebook, these short little skits always pop up with all these different comedians, and George Carlin pops up a lot. And the one he's talking about religion, about God. Everybody has a God, and he's going on about how God loves you. God loves you. But if you don't obey the 10 Commandments, God hates you, and He'll torture you, and He'll kill you, and He'll put you in hell, and He'll make sure you fry, and He'll kill you. It's like he's going on, but God loves you. Yes, God loves you. But if you don't obey the commandments, He'll hate you and torture you and kill you. I mean, the way George Carlin knows how to speak and talk, that guy had an incredible talent. There's the thing about life. There's so many people in this world that have made so much money just off of their voice. And you know what that means? Singers. Singers make astronomical amount of money if you have the voice and know how to sing. If you're a comedian or an actor or whatever it may be, but you're using your voice, you're using the way you speak and talk, that make people laugh their ass off at you because you have that unique talent of how you carry your voice. So that's an incredible talent that you can make a living off of talking. And that's where it is today. More than ever, people are chasing the social media dream of being successful and making tons of money. I'll be the first to raise my hand by just talking. But you know as well as I do, how did Howard Stern become so popular? Besides running his mouth on talk radio and people follow him. Joe Rogan. You can go through the list of people that run their mouth all day and people follow. And Rush Limbaugh. That guy had an incredible following, but not only did he know how to talk, but he was an intellectual person that people listened to learn things. That was a big thing about Rush Limbaugh, was people liked to listen to him because he could see through all the red tape of all the political jargon and all the political BS, and he tried to help you understand really what was going on. And he had that incredible skill on how to decipher all that and cut it up and paste it so you understand. And that's, once again, that's the successful social media creators that understand how they can get an audience that comes to them where the audience feels like they gain knowledge and information and that they're in some ways smarter than you. Yeah, that's called success. All right, here we go in the back. But I'll never forget the story about Larry the Cable Guy. I told the story here a while back where Larry the Cable Guy spent 8 years of his life calling into radio stations. I talked about Larry the Cable Guy a while back, and I'm trying to remember his whole name. Was it Larry Ellison? I don't think it is. Larry Adkins? I can't. But anyways, he spent 8 years of his life getting up early every morning and calling into all the different talk radio stations and music stations as well, and I guess making some jokes, I guess. But he was relentless. He never gave up, and he this guy here, he was religiously get up every day, and he would call radio stations. And I've talked about this on my channel, so you probably know the story. But all the point is, I'm just sharing with you, he never gave up of trying to become successful as being a comedian. And it was Jeff Foxworthy, that was the big travel comedian show that they had touring the country. And if I remember right, he got a phone call from somebody that said he should jump on the bandwagon with the Jeff Foxworthy and other comedians and tour the country with them to try to get himself really more recognized. And I think that's where he exploded. So his relentless calling the radio stations, had he not got on the Jeff Foxworthy tour, you and I probably wouldn't even know who this guy is to this date, and would have eventually he just given up. That calling into radio stations, trying to spread his name and his funniness, just never, to no avail, and would he have given up? And that's the thing. There's probably so many people in this world that are incredibly talented, that all chased a dream, but they just never had that little stroke of luck that created them to be famous. And they eventually just gave up. You just know there is, because everybody chases the dream of being a professional football player, or the soccer player, or the basketball player, or the pianist, or the chemist, or the doctor, or the actor, or the boss, whatever. So all I'm saying is there's so many people that we don't know of because eventually they gave up. And since they gave up, they never ever crossed the finish line to accomplish what they want. I mean, you see this all the time. I see it a lot in relationships. That's what I see. That they just eventually, you just give up. There's just nothing there. You just can't taste what really comes. What happens is the enjoyment. Do you have more enjoyment or more sadness And that's the thing that definitely drives away the man and woman in a relationship, is because I think the sadness and aggravation overwhelm the excitement and the enjoyment that you had in your relationship. And I think a lot of it has to do with that physical, intimate relationship that men and women are so attracted to each other, but then over time it starts to fade away, and then do you have more of a connection mentally than you do physically. And that's where I think really then that's like a double whammy. You lost the physical relationship, but then you also lost the mental connection. And that's where I think eventually you're supposed to I'm just not happy. I'd rather try to find somebody else. And that's where you start thinking is, now are you want to try to find somebody else to replace that unhappiness? And can you find that someone else for happiness? And that's where there's a very fine line there. And a lot of people never do. Then they're just chasing the happiness that never comes back to them of what they used to have from the get-go. So here's the person here that's putting down the road, that's saying, danger, danger. It's a 40-mile-an-hour road. And this is what you deal with. When you live behind the wheel of a car, you're always challenged by the people in front of you or back of you. And then who is that person in front of you driving? And sometimes you're blown away in who it is as you drive down the road.